Hello and welcome to News Now. I am Deji Badimasi. The Nigerian Senate on Wednesday confirmed the nomination of some of the ministerial nominees forwarded to it by President Muhammadu Buhari. President Buhari, after 4 months of taking over power, sent in a list of 37 persons that will man ministries under his administration to the Senate in 2 batches within the space of 6 days. The first batch contains 21 names with a further 16 in the second batch. At the end of plenary on Wednesday, Senate President Bukola Saraki read out the names of the 18 nominees who had fielded questions from the lawmakers, and the Senate confirmed them as ministers through a voice vote.
Thereafter, the committee approved the nominations of Senator Udoma, Dr. John Kaide Fayemi, Chief Aujogbe, Dr. Christopher Ogbunya Onu, Dr. Osage Henry, Dr. Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazao, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, Amina Ibrahim Mohammed, Engineer Suleiman Hussein Adamu, Mr. Ibrahim Usman Jibrin, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, Dr. Emmanuel Ibe Kachuku, Abubakar Malami SAN, Dr. Senator Chris Nwabazingige, Senator Aisha Jumi Al-Hassan, Barrister Solomon Dalong, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, Senator Hadi Sirika, as ministers of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Senate of the whole? Confirmation. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Senator Udoma as a minister of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Senator Udoma is hereby confirmed as a minister of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. John Kaide Fayemi as a minister of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Dr. John Kaide Fayemi is hereby confirmed as a minister of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So altogether, 18 nominees have been confirmed and approved by the Senate. They now wait for the President to assign them portfolios and, of course, swear them in. Meanwhile, the Senate has postponed the screening of the former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amaechi, till Thursday. Amaechi was billed to be screened Wednesday, but had his screening postponed till the next day owing to the inability of the Senator Samuel Anyanwu-led ADA Committee on Ethics, Public Petitions and Privileges to submit their report at the plenary. The committee has reported that it was yet to submit its report on the petitions against Rotimi Amaechi to the Committee of the Whole. Hence, the Senate will have to stay action. The committee is expected to finalize the report on Amaechi and submit it on Thursday to enable his screening. Senate President Bukola Saraki, who presided over the plenary, asked Senator Anyanwu to ensure the committee's report was ready the next day for subsequent treatment. President Buhari has withdrawn Ahmed Musa Ibeto, the immediate past deputy governor of Niger State, from the ministerial list he sent to the Senate. President Buhari sent a letter in this regard to the Senate President Bukola Saraki on Wednesday morning, though the reason for the withdrawal is still not known. Confirming this development, Senate spokesperson Dino Melai said the Senate has 37 ministerial nominees for screening, but after an announcement by Senate President Bukola Saraki, there were only 36 names left. Another nominee, Abubakar Ba, also from Niger State, was forwarded to the Senate to replace Ibeto. The Nigerian army has confirmed the bomb explosion which killed 7 people in Maiduguri Tuesday evening. The army said 3 blasts detonated by suicide bombers occurred at 3-minute intervals at Ajilari, Maiduguri Metropolitan Council, Borno State, Northeast Nigeria. 11 people were injured and 3 suicide bombers were among the dead, the army said. The army also gave details of the attack at a mosque in Okene in Kogi State, north central Nigeria, where soldiers clashed with militants on Tuesday. One soldier also died in the attack and another was wounded. Army spokesperson Sani Usman said the situation has been brought under control. He said troops of 5 Brigade also ambushed suspected Boko Haram terrorists that attacked a military location at Gaidam town last week. They were ambushed while returning from an attack on Gajiram near Ngolom village. He also said troops on patrol around Monguno have arrested Abacha Komjo, a suspected Boko Haram fuel and logistics supplier. Now, the death toll of Nigerian pilgrims who died in last month's Hajj stampede at Mina in Saudi Arabia has continued to mount. In the latest figure released by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, 168 Nigerians have now been confirmed dead in the September 24th stampede. Although Saudi authorities confirmed more than 769 pilgrims from across the world dead, the death toll is believed to be over 1,000, with Iran having the highest death casualty of over 400 persons. Speaking to newsmen on the incident in Mecca, the Director of Public Affairs of the Commission, Ubamana, said the number of Nigerians who died rose following ongoing analyses on the corpses by the Saudi government. He said the number of pilgrims earlier declared missing had reduced from 165 to 144 owing to the discovery of additional bodies. According to him, 7 out of the 42 pilgrims injured during the stampede were still on admission in Saudi hospitals. On the ongoing airlift of pilgrims back to Nigeria, Mana said 47,128 pilgrims had already been transported back to their respective states in 123 flights. Nigerian lawmakers have called for an international investigation into the tragedy. 7 suspected killers of the managing director of the Lekki Free Trade Zone, Tajuddin Dishu, have been arraigned before an Ebute Metta magistrate court. The suspects were arraigned as the Nigerian police had approached the court to grant them an order to remand the suspects in court until investigation into the murder case is completed. Dishu and 3 other persons were killed in Ibejuleki, Lagos State, southwest Nigeria, while on official duty. The deceased died from gunshot wounds when gunmen attacked him during a peace mission to one of the communities in the Free Trade Zone area on Monday. The magistrate Folashade Botoku granted the request of the police and ordered the suspects identified as Dele Ajayi, Tajuddin Jegede, Saidi Akoni, Oyelade Taiwo, Sunday Bolos, Abiola Ogunsonwo, Okunaya Stephen, Taiwo Gafar, Agunrega Banji, Gafaro Ahmed, Moses Okoro, Talabi Kodri, Ikpaye Oriyomi, Kodri Yusuf, and Tunde Yusuf be remanded in police custody for further investigation. Governors from the 36 states of the Federation under the aegis of the Nigerian Governors Forum met to discuss some pressing states and national issues. The meeting, which was held at the Old Banquet Hall in the Presidential Villa on Tuesday, was said to have been initiated by President Muhammadu Buhari to keep the governors abreast of the goings-on in the government departments and agencies, including the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC). Speaking to State House correspondents after the meeting, Edo State Governor Adams Oshomole said that the briefings were designed to encourage synergy. The forum received presentations from strategic ministries, departments and agencies on some of the issues: the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Federal Ministry of Health, the World Bank, Nigeria Communication Commission (NCC), and the UK Department for International Development (DFID) also made presentations at the meetings. Now, the European Union Election Observation Mission Nigeria 2015 election has issued a comprehensive report of its observation of that election and offered recommendations for future elections. Addressing newsmen in Abuja, Chief Observer Santiago Fisher said the 2015 elections are historic. He, however, decried the incidents of violence, abuse of incumbency and attempts at manipulations. He called on the new office holders, legislative bodies, INEC and other stakeholders to demonstrate their commitment to electoral reform. He also made some recommendations.
The judiciary made serious efforts to provide timely administration of justice. Nevertheless, the lack of time limits for filing and adjudicating of pre-election suits left the majority of cases pending before the courts for after the elections, thus compromising the right to a timely remedy. The 28th March National Assembly election furthered the negative 2011 trend with another decrease in the number of women elected. The proportion of women elected is well below the 30% of the Beijing Declaration and the 35% of national gender policy targets. I would like to highlight that our final report includes 30 recommendations for consideration, and all of them were consulted with a broad spectrum of Nigerian stakeholders. Let me emphasize the priority ones. 1. Establish a more inclusive parliamentary mechanism for cross-party involvement in the selection and approval of the INEC chairperson and national commissioners. INEC's independence be further developed through direct power to appoint and remove residential electoral commissioners. 2. Elaborate a plan for developing and maintaining the voter register to include improving biometric functionality, removal of the deceased, and extended enrollment of new registrants. 3. Merge accreditation and voting processes on election day for ease access for voters while maintaining other safeguards, in particular mandatory biometric voter identification. 4. The Constitution be amended to allow for independent candidacy for all elected positions. 5. NBC authority be strengthened, its monitoring capacities developed, and requirements be established for NBC public reporting of monitoring findings and sanctions applied. 6. Reasonable time limits for the effective filing, hearing, and determination of pre-election suits be established in the legal framework in order for cases to be completed well in advance of election day. 7. Political parties be required to have policies on the promotion of women's political participation and consider to have a minimum representation of women in leadership positions and as candidates. In a more simple language, we believe that implementation of our priority recommendations will lead to 1. A stronger INEC, 2. Cleaner voter register and better voter identification, 3. Easier voting, 4. Wider choice for voters on election day, 5. Fairer media, 6. Justice on time, and 7. More women in politics. Ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by saying that the European Union is committed to Nigeria democratic growth, and it stands ready to support and assist Nigeria in fulfillment of these and other recommendations.
Now, Catholic bishops from the Niger Delta have described as criminal the slow response of government in addressing the menace of oil spillage in the region. Speaking in Abuja at the National Coalition on Gas Flaring and Oil Spills in the Niger Delta Conference, Bishop Hyacinth Egbebo, Apostolic Vicariate of Bomadi Diocese in the Niger Delta region, said it has become increasingly necessary for government to have a look-in at the threat posed by oil spills on the environment, lives and livelihood of the local people. He called for an urgent legislative support to ensure the speedy deliberations and passage of the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency (NOSDRA) Amendment Bill. The bill, when passed, he said, would give NOSDRA the sole power to play a regulatory role in environmental management matters relating to oil spills.
The perspective that we as Catholic bishops bring to the table is, firstly, to appeal that the National Assembly should attend to this bill speedily and give them empowerment to act, proactively act, and not to go there as a matter of emergency kind of stopgaps. We are calling for the government to know that part of why these spills occur is because of poverty in that region. lots of people are so poor, and because of that, they resort to vandalizing the pipelines. Spillages are doing a lot of damage to our environment and to human beings, and the reason this is happening is because the bill has not been passed. The people who are supposed to be responsive in ensuring that they attend to spill problems are not acting. And that is our concern, that human life is at stake, our economy is at stake, our future is at stake. And so for the government to still sit on this is criminal. They should speedily do something about it. And that's the reason we are here to make this appeal, so that it will be taken on board as a national concern to speedily do something about it. Do something also about the fact of the supply gap that is there. The people down there, from whose backyard these things are coming from, the crude oil is coming from, have no gas to cooking gas, no fuel, and so they begin to now brew it for themselves, and which is not good, because we've told them that this is not environmental friendly. It is destroying everybody. Even if you were to smell the smoke of that, you know how hazardous it is. And of course, when the rain falls, the emissions from flaring of gas, we are the ones who are drinking in all this. And so the death rate there is very high. And people are very poor. And so they resort to doing anything to survive.
Well, we'll take a short break now, and News Now will be right back.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching the Funny White Man Show, which is the biggest, the brightest, and the most entertaining show in Africa.
Funny white man, funny white man, funny white man, but this way you talk, it's too much. Give me 5,000 man, that's you. It's too much. So you get it like, when she move along the street, yeah, me should like there, I'm going girl. You know, my own people, actually. Yeah, fine, it's fun. I enjoy it. And I'm one of those very few, I'm forever taking it personal. I will listen 160 million Nigerians are corrupt. How? My brother, I'm looking for you.
Yeah, but it's a growth, and this is the time to build business and know the pitfalls and know what to do and what not to do. But there are months where you get business and months.
You know how we do, how we tell you. We did the way you did.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching Trending Matters on the Funny White Man Show. Of course, we will bring you trending issues just to entertain and tickle your fancy.
Welcome back. Oil eased further below $50 a barrel on Wednesday, falling for a third day on concern a supply glut will persist and demand slow down as economic growth moderates in the number 2 consumer, China. Now, Chinese growth for the third quarter is expected to fall below 7% for the first time since the global financial crisis. The International Energy Agency said on Tuesday the oil market would remain oversupplied in 2016. Brent crude was down 5 cents at $49.19 a barrel. U.S. crude was up 1 cent at $46.67 a barrel. Now, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries in 2014 dropped its long-standing policy of supporting prices by cutting output, choosing instead to defend market share against higher-cost producers such as U.S. shale oil. International NGO Oxfam says as long as African governments now continue to allow the climate change situation to persist, the inability of African nations to feed themselves would linger on. Making the remark at a media briefing in Abuja, Oxfam head of programs Constant Chona said the broken global food system, which has been caused by climate change, Land grabs, food price spikes, lack of adequate inputs and credits, and rudimentary farming techniques are stopping nearly 900 million people worldwide from having enough to eat. Jonas added that despite contributing about 22% of the total GDP and employing 70% of the labor force, the agricultural sector in Africa is characterized by mismanagement, low productivity, poor policy, and dilapidated infrastructure. He charged the Nigerian government to support women farmers who are worst hit by the current harsh climate conditions by coming up with policies to cushion the impact on women, as well as increase investment that supports small-scale farmers with sustainable farming techniques so they are able to produce enough food, actually, to feed a growing population without pushing the climate further out of control. Now, Hillary Clinton has attacked her main rival, Bernie Sanders, over U.S. gun laws at the Democratic presidential debate. When asked if the Vermont senator was strong on gun control, she said, quote, "No, not at all," end of quote, before vowing to go after the makers of guns used in shootings. Sanders also attacked Clinton, saying her support for a no-fly zone in Syria would create serious problems. His rallies have drawn big crowds, and he has challenged Mrs. Clinton's front-runner status in some key states. Clinton and Sanders dominated the debate. The three other candidates on stage in Las Vegas, former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley, former Virginia Senator Jim Webb, and former Rhode Island Senator Lincoln Schaaf, struggled to make any headway. The two main candidates were sharply divided over gun laws in the wake of a mass shooting at a college campus in Oregon. Clinton has seen her support wane amid questions about her use of a private email account when she served as U.S. Secretary of State, a move she now calls a mistake. Israeli forces shut down access to some Palestinian neighborhoods in East Jerusalem on Wednesday by setting up checkpoints and putting more police on the streets, a reaction to a spike in violence across Israel and the Palestinian territories in recent days. An Israeli police spokesman said the police actions and operations are intended to fairly respond to the wave of terror within the framework of trying to return law and order to all citizens of the state. The moves came a day after U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said he would soon travel to the Middle East to help calm the situation. It wasn't immediately clear when he planned to go. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pledged to make his nation more secure. Israel's response followed a bloody day of attacks carried out by the men that Israeli authorities say have ties to Palestinian terrorist group. At least 3 Israelis were killed and many others wounded. 2 deaths came in an attack on a bus in Jerusalem. Let's turn to sports now. 3 times Ballon d'Or winner Cristiano Ronaldo has declared his intention to continue playing for the next 6 years and retire at current club Real Madrid. The 30-year-old recently drew level with Raul as Madrid's all-time leading scorer after his Champions League brace against Malmo took him to 323 goals, reaching that mark in 400 fewer games than the former Spain international. Speaking to the Spanish press, the Portuguese icon said he believes that if he takes care of his body, he could play on for the next 6 years. Ronaldo was recently awarded with another accolade this week after he picked up a record 4th Golden Shoe award as recognition for being the top goal scorer in all the European leagues last season. FIFA presidential candidate Prince Ali of Jordan has warned that delaying the February 26th election of the World Football Governing Body would further destabilize the organization. Football's biggest body has been plunged into another round of crisis after its ethics committee placed a 90-day ban on its president, Sepp Blatter, his UEFA counterpart Michel Platini, and Secretary General Jerome Valcke. However, Prince Ali, speaking through a statement released today, has advised against postponing the election as it would only further damage the credibility of the organization. He also warned the FIFA Executive Committee, which is due to hold a crisis meeting next Tuesday, not to alter agreed plans on a February 26th election. Still on FIFA Ethics Committee has placed a 6-year ban on former South African Football Association official Lindile Kika following an investigation into friendly matches in his country. Kika, who is a former South African Football Association director of national teams, was one of 5 officials named in a FIFA report on match fixing. The investigation against Kika was opened in 2014 and centered around a number of international friendlies played in South Africa in 2010. The Ethics Committee said in a statement that the decision to ban him for 6 years was related to FIFA regulations on conduct, loyalty, duty of disclosure and other issues. It said the ban takes effect immediately. Kika and FIFA, well, I don't know what to say, but too bad for this individual Kika. That's it on News Now. We thank you very much for watching. Continue to stay tuned to TV360.